As you may or may not know, Congressman Ron Paul recently asked Ben Bernanke, the chairman of the Federal Reserve Corporation, this question: Is gold money? Mr. Bernanke's answer was no. But if gold and silver aren't money, how come silver was in our coinage up until 1970? How come 1 ounce American silver and gold eagles are sold today by the U.S. Mint with $1 or $50 denominations right on the coins? How come the dollar was backed by gold up until August 15, 1971, when President Nixon closed the gold window? If gold and silver aren't money, how come the state of Utah on May 9, 2011 declared that gold and silver may be used as legal tender for transactions? And how come the states of Montana, Missouri, Colorado, Idaho, Indiana, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Georgia, and Washington State all have similar legislation currently in process to make gold and silver legal tender in their states? And most importantly, if gold and silver aren't money, why does it state in the United States Constitution in Article 1, Section 10 that, quote, "No state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts"? Regardless of what Mr. Bernanke says, gold and silver are money and always will be. They are inherently valuable as stores of purchasing power, which is probably one reason central bankers all over the world have moved from being net sellers of gold to net buyers. In fact, after roughly 50 years of being net sellers of gold into the market, central banks worldwide on a net basis purchased 15 million ounces of gold in 2009, and in 2010 they purchased over 10 million ounces of gold. Now, given the extreme amount of money printing and creation that has been happening in the past few years in the U.S. and all over the world, the result is a devaluation and debasement of each current of paper currency. In fact, the dollar has lost 95% of its purchasing power over the past 100 years. And actually, I just read recently where it's lost 80% of its purchasing power over the past 40 years alone. This means it takes more dollars in the case of U.S. citizens to buy the same amount of stuff. We see this in the rising price of gasoline, food, and other commodities happening today, and we've seen it happen over the decades. Central banks see this happening because they're making it happen. This also helps to explain why the Eurozone central bankers in 2011 have now become a net buyer of gold for the first time since the inception of the euro, which is back in the late 90s. They're trading paper money for sound money, money that has real value, as a hedge against debasement. In addition, South Korea has tripled its reserves of gold over the past 2 months alone, and the Bank of Korea back on August 2, 2011, just a couple of weeks ago, purchased 25 tons of gold. If central bankers are buying precious metals, perhaps you should too. Remember, fiat currencies, those colored paper rectangles in your wallet or purse, are backed by nothing of intrinsic value and throughout history have been debased heavily and have even gone to zero value. Gold and silver have never gone to zero. To learn more about how you can invest in precious metals at true wholesale prices, be sure to click on the link below this video to get your free ebook on investing in gold and silver through preservation of wealth. You'll be glad you did, and thank you for watching.